Yo, what's up, D-Rob, man? Hey, real quick, I just want to give a big shout out to all of you guys who have been following me in this new invention, this new endeavor to just share some things outside of the church walls, outside of the pulpit. Just sharing things for people who may not come into the church house, people who may not be drawn to wanting to come inside of the four walls of the church. This is something that I believe is important. I believe that it's something that if more leaders would be willing to set themselves aside and just say, you know what, not only am I called to the church, but I'm called to the world, that so many other people would be impacted in a positive way. So that being said, today, man, I just want to share and I want to talk for a few minutes about something that's very, very dear to my heart. Several weeks ago, I was talking to a friend of mine. I was privileged to have the opportunity to pray for and give counsel to an individual who's running for the U.S. Senate. And as I was talking to him, I was just encouraged because he was in a position where some things that came to surface, some things had been said, and those things caused him to want to second guess if he should continue to run. They caused him to begin to waver or wonder if the race that he was about to run was even worth running. And as he began to talk and share with me, I was encouraged because I realized that though this incident happened so many years ago, he was still in a place where he was arrested or handicapped or even judged by what he had to deal with. And so as a result of that, he found himself in a place where he was wondering and asking himself, should I continue to do this? Should I continue to run? Is running even worth it? But then deep down in the inside, he realized that his life was not his own. His life wasn't about him. And it put me in a position where being a pastor, being a leader, I began to wonder and just think how many people in the world are paralyzed, not physically, not, mentally, but paralyzed in such a way that mistakes that they made in the past have caused them to not be able to move forward. How many teenage mothers would be so much more successful if they weren't afraid of trying to live in spite of their mistakes of yesterday. How many people would be willing to start their own business if they wasn't an ex-felon. How many people would be willing to strive for greater if it wasn't something that happened yesterday that caused them to begin to wonder, if it was even possible. But this individual, man, he began to not only inspire me, but he inspired me to share with others that you have to live beyond your biggest mistake. You can't allow your biggest mistake to be the ending place of your life. I shared in my podcast introduction that though I'm coming to you as just simply I am Demorius, I can't help but operate in the calling that God has given me. And when you allow your biggest mistake to cause you to stop living, when you allow your biggest mistake to handicap you or paralyze you or arrest you, and you're not living tomorrow because of yesterday, then you'll find yourself in a place that you can't be what God has called you to be. You can't be the best you because your best you is defined by the worst you. And so for the next few minutes, man, I just want to encourage you that don't let your biggest mistake be the hindrance, be the stopping place for your life. For Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans that I have for you, declareth the Lord, plans to prosper you, and not to harm you, but to give you hope in a future." He says he's the Alpha and the Omega. He said, an expected end. And so I just believe that if your biggest mistake was designed to be the end of your life, you wouldn't have had today. You wouldn't have had tomorrow. You wouldn't have had next week. And I just believe that if God has given you today, he's giving you tomorrow, he's giving you next week, then you have to be courageous. You have to be willing to live in the face of your adversaries, in the face of your critics, in the face of everyone who said that you could not do it, and push yourself to do greater, to do better. I just believe even with every fiber of my being, your worst mistake is the best mistake, because that's going to propel you to be the best you. Don't allow the thing that other people have defined you by, other people have hindered you by, other people have stopped you from living by, to be the thing that would cause you to stop pursuing God and everything that God has for you. Listen, there are countless people who have had mistakes throughout history. There are countless people who have not dotted every I or crossed every T. But because they were willing to continue to move, they were willing to continue to live, I just believe that the world is made better because they weren't defined by their biggest mistake. Listen to this as I get ready to close. I was thinking about this just the other day in my office, and I took the word mistake. And as I broke it down and separated it, the word take, it simply means a series or a sequence. And the prefix MIS, it just means bad. And because that MIS is such a negative connotation, and you put it with the sequence, so it's just a bad sequence. But if you've ever watched a movie, if you've ever been privileged to see the behind the scenes part of the movies, or if you've ever been privileged to see the bloopers of a movie, as soon as a mistake happens, they simply stop, and then they say they declare take 2, or take 3, or take 4, or take 5, or take 6. And the reason why they go to this extent is because their movie is not defined by the one take that didn't go right. So why should your life be defined by the one take that didn't go right? That's just a sequence. That's just a small part of the series. I believe if you're willing to do what God has called you to do, He'll look beyond that bad sequence. He'll look beyond that one sequence that just didn't go right, and He'll allow you to say, take 2. And then you'll be able to learn from the mistake. And as you learn from the mistake, you'll know that you have to do something a little bit different. And because you do that something that's a little bit different, other people have a better opportunity at succeeding in life because you didn't allow your worst mistake to define who you are. I am Demorius, man. Hope this inspires you. I hope this pushes you. Don't be defined by your biggest mistake, because I'm telling you, your biggest mistake can actually be your best mistake to cause you to live the best that you possibly can. Be blessed. Be encouraged. God bless you.